This is a book ball summary of the book Getting Things Done by David Allen. You know that feeling you get when you know there's something you're forgetting to do, but you just can't remember what that something is? If you hate that feeling as much as I do, then Getting Things Done is your never-failing guide to preventing that from happening again. The key to GTD isn't the certain tools you choose, but rather the habits you use daily to think about and focus on your work. Number 1. Your brain is incredible at thinking, but not good at remembering things. Work can be hectic these days. A typical day might look something like this. You're in the middle of writing a document when an email pops up telling you to update your antivirus software. Then, just as you're about to do this, your aunt calls to say you should RSVP to her wedding. And, as you hang up, your boss marches in demanding you start working on a new document. Now, what were you doing again? Knowledge workers in particular spend their days manoeuvring dozens of tasks and projects at once, while being constantly attacked by still more. To survive this attack, most people cram everything into their heads. Unfortunately, this approach dissipates the brain's capacity to think by obstructing it with a variety of information. So, what can you do to master the modern workplace's web of tasks, meetings, and information so that you can truly focus on what you're doing? This is where GTD comes in. Through a specific and powerful 5-stage workflow, you can get back in control of everything on your plate. 1. Capture everything. Capture anything that crosses your mind in some external system, whether on paper or digitally. 2. Clarify. Process what each item is and decide if an item is a project, next action, or reference. 3. Organize. Organize the outcome into the right place. In other words, sort your tasks. 4. Review. Evaluate what is important to you and review the item in your system. 5. Engage. Pick an item and get to work on it. It's as simple as that. GTD allows you to feel a greater sense of control over your work, which produces better decisions and more flexibility when faced with changing circumstances. Number 2. To fully execute the GTD system, you need the right workplace, tools, and filing system. A good place to get started with the GTD system is by setting up a workplace for yourself where all suitable materials are available. By doing so, you create a control room where you always feel comfortable working. The bare minimum you need is a writing surface and room for a physical appearance. Some vital required physical tools are paper holding trays to serve as your in and out trays, paper, pens, paper clips, tape, a calendar, and other stationaries. These are in addition to any digital devices you currently use to capture and organize tasks, like your phone or computer. Number 3. Capture all your tasks, ideas, reminders, and more in trusted external system tools. We've verified that these days our attention is under attack, constantly pulled around by a never-ending stream of incoming requests, questions, tasks, invites, and so on. To deal with this, the first important step in the GTD workflow is capturing all of them in external system tools, meaning places outside your mind where you can jot down information and ideas. Number 4. Clarify. Empty all your external system tools weekly. Have you set up your system tools and occupied them with all your tasks, ideas, and reminders? If so, congratulations! You've gotten off to a good start. But the GTD system only works if you also periodically empty your system tools. Otherwise, they'll just end up a bloated mess of unorganized items, and your brain will soon begin to distrust them. It will then retreat to thinking about them and distracting you with notions like, maybe I should stop what I'm doing to pay this bill, because I may miss it in the system tool with all those other items. And then you're back to square one. Number 5. Organize. Empty your system tools and put things in the right place. Most traditional to-do lists don't work because they lack organization and quickly become a mixture of tasks, reminders, thoughts, and information where it's impossible to find the truly actionable items. Let's first look back at the choices made in the clarifying stage. As stated before, items with no future value are deleted or trashed, whereas actionable items that can be completed in 2 minutes or less should be done immediately. Number 6. Use a projects list to keep track of your current projects and always insist on clear next actions. In GTD, a project is defined as the desired result that necessitates taking more than one action step. Therefore, writing one email is not a project, but organising a big meeting or planning a vacation is. We'll dip into how to define your projects, but for now, you just need to know that projects are stored on a projects list, which should be reviewed and updated regularly. Number 7. Natural planning interprets the goals and next actual steps of your projects. Let's talk about the all-important skill of project planning. When you plan something simple like a dinner out, it's a cinch and rarely fails. But projects like making complex deals with clients, hosting large weddings, or organising important business resorts are rarely as stress-free to plan. So how can you make planning a major work project as cinchy as planning dinner? Enter the natural planning process, which is meant to reflect the way you plan things in your everyday life. It comprises 5 steps: purpose and principles, outcome visioning, brainstorming, organising, and identifying next actions. Number 8. Instead of a daily to-do list, maintain a calendar and next action lists. Many people rely on daily to-do lists for managing their productivity, but this approach leaves much to be desired. Such lists tend to fail because you can't truly know in advance what you're capable of completing in a given day. Hence, they lead to unrealistic planning, frustration, and time wasted working on something that was doomed to fail before you started. A far more effective method is to work with a calendar and one or multiple next action lists. Number 9. Waiting for lists can be very helpful when you work with other people. As stated previously, all current projects should be listed on the projects list. When using the next action list, you can ensure that you're consistently working on tasks that are taking your project closer to their conclusion one at a time. But more often than not, you also need to rely on other people. For example, you may need to wait for inputs from a colleague for your presentation or hear back from a hotel regarding room availability. This doesn't mean, however, that you have to relinquish all control over the progress of the related projects. Number 10. All ideas with potential future relevance should be put onto a someday maybe list or a tickler file. Another important component of the GTD method is the someday maybe list. Everything that doesn't qualify for the next actions or projects lists, but also shouldn't be buzzing around your head, goes on this list. It contains all the things you haven't been able to translate into solid ideas or tasks just yet. Even though the name might make it sound like a list of less important things, don't underestimate the advantages of the someday maybe list. It helps you keep track of project ideas that might be extremely important in the future, and you may be surprised to find that often you do end up doing many of them. But you can't act on them when the time is right unless you capture them when they occur to you. Number 11. Review. Constantly reviewing your system is essential to working productively. We've now greatly covered how to organise your tasks, projects, reminders, and ideas, which means it's time to proceed to the 4th step of the GTD process: review. The goal of the GTD method is to feel relaxed and in control of all your current projects, to keep track of them and make sure that they're moving forward. But for this to happen, your productivity system must be up to date and complete at all times. Number 12. Engage. Choose what to do in each moment based on the current situation and your priorities. The final stage of the GTD process is where things get done. So how do you choose what to do in each given moment? Mainly, you should trust your gut. But to break it down more analytically, there are 4 norms to consider. What can you do in the current context? For instance, if you don't have a phone, you can't make calls. What do you have time for? If you only have 10 minutes to spare before your next meeting, it probably doesn't make sense to start a multi-hour budget review. What do you have energy for? If you spent all afternoon on the aforementioned grueling budget review, you're probably feeling pretty spent. But this is no excuse not to be productive, as you can still do something that's not too taxing cognitively, like booking flights. Which task has the highest priority? To answer this question, you need to understand your values and goals. Number 13. Understand your preferences through a bottom-up examination. To get a hold of what's important to you in your work and life, it's useful to think in terms of verges, each one progressively further away than the last. Ground, current actions. This is the lowest verge you have, comprising your current tasks to be done, reminders, emails to answer, etc. Verge 1, current projects. These are the projects on your project list at the moment. Verge 2, areas of focus and accountabilities. The projects you undertake are based on the accountabilities and roles you have. Verge 3. 1 to 2 year goals. Picture where you want to be in your life 1 to 2 years from now. These goals impact your areas of focus and accountabilities. Verge 4. Long-term visions. This is the 3 to 5 year time frame, where you need to assess not only where you want to be in life, but also what external factors may influence your life. Verge 5. Life purpose. This is the ultimate big picture viewpoint, where you ask yourself why you exist. What is your purpose in life? All the previous horizons are influenced by your answer, and all the tasks you undertake should lead you toward it. What's your most important key takeaway? Please comment down below and share the video if you like it. Check out these other 2 videos. Thank you, and until next time.